Can't you just smell the hatred that is swirling around you right now? The utter despair and disdain people have in their souls right now because of this finale and the entire season as a whole. Can't you just smell the toxicity that's in the air right now, guys? That scrumptious hate. I just love it. But instead of me dwelling in the hatred and just swimming in it like a rat swims in trash, let me just back everyone up. Let us smell the roses of this great historical fuck up that we've only seen in select pieces of media. There's only a few times in life where you can just watch a show from start to finish, and throughout that process you go through the 6 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and of course, greed. Yeah, don't you love that money? Well, I know Amazon does. So if you want to create a widely renowned and beloved series and fuck it up in less than 2 seasons with the help of our lovely friend called Corporate Greed, just follow these simple steps and strategies and you'll do just as good as the boys. Let's get into it. So you want to start out with something that actually, unfortunately, requires talent. You need to start out with something fresh and sharp that criticizes corporations. If you don't start with something good, they're not gonna eat the rest of the slop you give them. That would be like McDonald's selling the McRib before the Big Mac. It just doesn't make sense. And while your main critique will be that you're satirizing massive evil corporations while also being platformed by a massive evil corporation, you skate past those accusations by simply having something interesting to say. Something that's just so completely intriguing and engaging that people forget that you are satirizing yourself. Now, once your show eventually becomes successful, you are now the golden goose, and that means shifting your tactics from telling a complete story to keeping the machine running. You gotta milk it for all you can. You gotta keep milking and milking and milking. Instead of building towards a natural end game, the story must start expanding with more lore, more side plots, more universe building, because success means franchise potential, not a resolution, dummy. Let's say your show is called, I don't know, The Girls. Let's make The Girls Santa Monica. Let's add a few more useless characters. We don't really have to care about their names or anything. Let's name this guy Dr. Punani. Let's name this guy Mr. Futt McNugget Sticks. Now in this show, we're gonna have these 2 very important characters that are just so important that they're not in the main series until like the last season. Until then, we're just gonna put them off in the side of the universe where nobody exists and they don't really interact as much as they should. But you will get a cameo here or there, you know? You will get a little cameo. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you can keep throwing all of these characters and just feed in the pipeline. And the audience, the unbeknownst audience, they will all swallow and gobble it up because they are all patiently waiting for the eventual and satisfying end of your show, because there's no way you can betray their trust. You criticize the corporations. There's no way you can become what you are criticizing. There is no way you'll live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Now, step number 3, become the villain. Despite the fact that you criticize a plethora of corporations for doing the exact same thing you're doing, you are going to act better than them because you are self-aware. Now it's time to copy all of their tactics. That means keeping all the fan favorite characters alive because they sell. Yeah, you know that little pesky aspect of your show that made sure that no one was safe and made it more interesting and very much engaging? Yeah, we're gonna get rid of all of that. And the boys, I am so sorry. The girls will repeatedly face literal gods and somehow walk away because killing your core characters will hurt the audience retention. Now, of course, the stakes must disappear. Viewers must know that plot armor is stronger than Compound V. Now, that doesn't mean you can't tease quality writing to your audience. You have to treat them like a Minecraft pig. You hold a carrot up in their face and they'll keep following you until they inevitably fall into a pit of lava. And yes, of course that means you instantly take back every inch of good writing you gave them. If they walk forward an inch, you take your pump action shoddy and you blow them back a mile. That's how capitalism works, baby. Let's say you give the perfect tragic ending to an evil maniacal character. You have to walk that back a little bit, buddy. That's too satisfying. What if you need a spinoff? What if the girl Santa Monica needs to analyze the reason as to why that evil piece of shit character is the way they are? Of course, we're gonna have to keep her alive and make her quote unquote deaf a plot point in your series finale. You're not thinking straight. Now, you remember every single thing that made your show so great at the beginning? The references, satire that mocked celebrity branding, military industrial greed, fake activism, and image management. Yeah, we're gonna scrap all of that, and now we're gonna insert the latest headline. Oh look, a major political figure did something very bad today. Let's make a surface level allegory towards that and call it a day. Now, every decent show needs some shock value. It needs some gore, some fetish jokes, some sexual tension, and disturbing scenes that just make you want to throw up. Now, at the beginning of your show, you were kind of known for that. You were kind of known for pushing the edge and really delving into gross territories that made your show seem really cool at the time. As time advanced, people got sort of sick of how much you did it. The jokes ran thin and people just got sick of it. Now it's time to stretch that joke until it's so thin that it's basically anorexic. So that means adding a fuckload of fucks, sex scenes, I want some fetish shit, add some poop if you want to, add some nigga going up your ass, add some nigga licking your ass. I want the grossest shit possible for these final seasons. You cannot be safe with it. You must show literal scenes of you digging up somebody's ass and pulling out the shit balls. I won't be satisfied until I see viewers actively throwing up on their couches at home. Let's say you have a character named, I don't know, Homelander. You must make him one of the most terrifying characters at the beginning. He must be unpredictable, incompetent, but later on in the series, he must be exaggerated beyond belief. He must lose all sense of what he was. He must become a caricature. He must become flanderized. What's a good show without flanderization? Let's say you add another character who you tout as the smartest character of all, the smartest character ever. You must write them inconsistently. You must tell, not show. That's the main point of these characters. You can't show them being smart. You gotta tell the audience because your audience is fucking dumb. And speaking of your audience, what's that rating looking like? Oh, it's getting lower. We gotta fix that. Let's add more spin-offs, add more spin-offs, add more spin-offs. Because nothing says creative confidence like launching a cinematic universe before even landing on your own ending. Expanded universes are landmines, and we must keep mining for that gold, buddy, for that diamond, for those blood diamonds. We must keep mining and mining. This is basically Minecraft, bro. Now we're nearing the end of our journey here, buddy. We are become deaf, destroyer of good character development. We are now becoming exactly what we've been saying. We're better than this entire run through. You're successful, you made millions upon millions of dollars, and you are now the conglomerate that you always despised. Now, let's see if you can stick the landing. Hey, so this is Ray in the future, and let me just say, they did not. No, they did not. So yeah, here's a quick review before I make a video with an actual review, guys. Spoilers ahead. I don't know if you went through all of this. Bro, did you not expect spoilers? But anyways, let me just start on Homelander's death. I fucked with it. It was disturbing. It was very warranted. I love how much of a sniveling bitch he was at the end of it. And low key, I wanted him to stay alive. It really convinced me that he needed to stay alive and be a useless piece of shit for the rest of his life. That would have been the best fucking punishment. But I am still satisfied with his death. I'm not satisfied as to how we got there, because much like everything else in this season, it was extremely rushed. Another thing that was rushed, Sage's whole arc of her just becoming powerless all of a sudden, it felt exactly that. All of a sudden, it was, what happened here? Can we build up to something like that? And when it happened, I absolutely felt nothing. And something else I felt nothing about, Gen V characters just being thrown in out of nowhere and having zero relevance to the plot. You should have just kept them out. At this point, just leave them out of it. What's going on? Why are we just dumping characters in and out of the story that have no relevance to the story? And now with Gen V being canceled, you can see that they were really planning on having a season 3. Unfortunately, for all of us and for all of entertainment, we're not gonna get a season 3, and we're not gonna get any real resolution to their character arcs. Marie Monroe was built up to be the main factor as to how Homelander dies, and she's just pushed aside like the rest of the world in this entire season, which brings me to another point. Why is the world so small now? Like throughout the episode, there's scenes where Homelander is speaking to the nation, and we're only cutting back to this test group that, in comparison to the rest of the world, who gives a fuck? Why aren't we seeing why aren't we seeing people in their living rooms? Why aren't we seeing people from different countries reacting to this? And what makes me so much more upset is that there were semblances of good dialogue sprinkled throughout this entire episode, and I'm just like, why can't we have more of that? For example, when Homelander called that nigga the Deep Kevin by his real fucking name, that shit hit. I want more of that. That was terrifying. Him just saying, Kevin, you're a piece of shit. That shit worked. I felt that. And speaking of the Deep, the whole Deep versus Annie thing was fucking cringe. I'm not gonna lie. The Deep should have died 2 seasons ago, and I stand by that. And yeah, let me just go through another quick rally of my thoughts. Butcher and Huey's ending was also very rushed and contrived and melodramatic at some points. And Homelander should have died in the penultimate episode instead, and Butcher in the finale, just to space it out a little bit more. But I like all the endings of the characters, but the rushed way we got there just reminded me of Game of Thrones. But ultimately, that is the end of The Boys. Leave your thoughts on the ending, and yeah. Also, naming your future baby after your dead ex would have put my jealous ass in a fucking spiral, bro. But that's just me. Anyways, bye-bye.
Waiting.